So guys, how are your nerves ahead of this one? Forest will host Newcastle in the final game before yet another international break. Now I'm going to run through, as always, my predicted teams. We'll talk about the players and the opposition. Welcome to my preview, Forest versus Newcastle. Good morning, good evening, or good night. I hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to the preview for Forest versus Newcastle. We need to go out with a bang. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new here, and check out, this has to be my favorite. I know I say it the odd time here, but this one is my favorite player, analyse. Signed framed LED shirt with a picture of him and everything else. If you win it, drop me a WhatsApp. I may be tempted to buy it off you guys. Go check it out. You can scan the QR code or click on the link that's pinned in the comments. And it's a beauty, just like him. And as well, happy birthday to Callum Hudson-Odoi. He got his eggs yesterday. And what a way to celebrate if he could score a goal this weekend. Anyway, let's get into the preview. There's a lot to discuss, and it's the significance of this game that does worry me. I'll tell you guys off the bat, I'm nervously excited and a little bit worried in this one, because I've been worried since the Palace game, if I'm honest with you. It's like at some point our Forest gonna falter, to the extent now where we haven't. It's a case of, okay, is this really happening, you know? And Newcastle are a tough team. They've just started to get into a bit of form. They beat Arsenal last week and Crystal Palace, Chelsea in the Cup midweek. And their fan base is feeling quite buoyant right now. Don't forget, we had a chat with the main man, Pete. So if you haven't checked out the opposition preview, I'll leave you a link on the end screen. And also there's another one as well on Patreon, exclusive for you guys. So you can catch up on the views of the Newcastle fans. But spoiler alert, I feel like they think they're confident again. And between me and you guys, I think they're overconfident. Why? Because I've been looking at this Arsenal team and it's just not quite firing. They lost in the Champions League a couple of nights ago. They lost to Newcastle. They've lost to Bournemouth. I almost feel that there's not much cohesion, and you can't really look at an Arsenal result as you would have maybe this time last season. But it has given them confidence. We've had a couple of teams who we've played recently that are coming off a couple of wins, feeling, you know, confident, chest puffing out. Look at Leicester. They were on back-to-back wins going into the Forest match. So I don't really, how can I say this? I'm no longer worried about the opposition. I'm more interested in how we approach the game and how we tackle it. There are going to be a few problems we have to address, which will be Flash Gordon, who switched over to the right-hand side. Can Moreno keep him at bay the way he did Salah? You got Joe Linton pushed up on the other side now on the left-hand side. Can analyse sort him out? And then can we create those chances? These are going to be two teams that would prefer the opposition to come onto them. And if that's not happening, I almost feel like the onus is on us to attack a little bit. It's going to be interesting, but let's get into my predicted team lineup. So let's switch over to the team sheet now. Alrighty then, as always, let's kick it off with the team that started last weekend. And you know, this is getting very easy to do. I think back 2 years ago where you'd be sitting here thinking, all right, is he going to change the formation? Is he going to change the tactics? Is he going to rest this player? Is that player jet lagged? You know, and right now it feels like the default answer needs to be stick with the winning team. 3 on the bounce. Can we make it 4 on the spin? There may be a couple of tweaks he does though. There's still the question mark around Morgan Gibbs-White and Elliot Anderson's fitness. I feel that he will do something very similar to what he did against West Ham. Morgan Gibbs-White will definitely start in the 10 in my opinion. And then you could use Anderson to relieve him after about 60 minutes. But there is another thought in my head that maybe he looks at dropping Dominguez. Dominguez, I think, has been sensational these last couple of games. He reminds me of a Kante, the way he gets around the pitch, hustles the ball and everything else. And I'd be very much against dropping him. And then, but you really want to play Anderson, don't you, against his former club? So I think, look, we don't even need to talk about the back four and Eminem and the goalkeeper. That's set in stone for now. I think if there's going to be a debate, it's in three positions. The right wing here, but I think what you'll see is Elanga definitely starting because of what he did away to them last season when we beat them 3-1. And I think this is a good game for Elanga to start. Now, he won't be up against Dan Burns. It will be the kid that they got from Chelsea, whose name I've just completely forgotten now. So he'll be playing at left back, and he was decent against Arsenal. It's the 6 and the 8 where I'm not quite sure what he does. I feel like it's harsh to drop Anderson. I feel it's harsh to drop Dominguez, and I feel it's harsh to drop Yates. But the combination of these two right now is working in the winning team. And the more I'm talking here, the more I feel like he's just going to stick with it. I'd see at a push, Dominguez comes out, Anderson goes into the 8. And I don't think he makes many more changes. Now, something I want to talk to you guys about is a forgotten man in Sangare. Sangare got his hamstring injury after the first or second international break back in September, and he was due to be sidelined for 6 to 8 weeks. Well, it's been 7.5 weeks now, so I expect him to be close to being at least on the training pitch right now. I don't think we'll see him in this game, and I think they'd like to get the international break and maybe get him another 2 weeks worth of time on the training pitch and fitness. And he could come back at some point. Now, would he directly replace Yates? For me, it's a yes, but I actually would understand if Yates kept his position ahead of Sangare because the team is gelling quite nicely right now. And the other one to consider as well is James Ward-Prowse. He's no longer parent club tied, so he will be back in, I think, the substitutes list. But he may be an option we can use in the second half if we get a free kick or something like that. Outside of that, guys, I feel like Nuno's got his kind of starting 14 set. There's a couple of tweaks here and there. And then he's got his finishers. His finishers are obviously Morato. By the way, Morato, his wife had their second child. Congratulations to him. That's why we believe he missed the game last week. So he should be back in his finisher role for this weekend. And outside of that, it's nice, isn't it? You don't have to have too many discussions. Any of the discussions, you're like, well, I see what you're saying, but I don't mind either way. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's even that emotive right now. So I think he stays with that team. Maybe Anderson for Dominguez. That's the only change I can see. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. So how do I think this one is going to play out? It's a tough one. On the talks I've had with my Newcastle YouTube mates, I feel like it's going to be a 0-0 draw. I'll just say it off the bat. There's something about Newcastle recently at the City Ground where we've just been really unlucky. If you remember back to last season, I think when the game was tied at 2 apiece, Taiwo went through, was absolutely fouled by the keeper, and of course no penalty was given. And then we gave away a set piece goal. If I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, it was Bruno who put the ball in the back of the net from a well-worked set piece. And then the time before that, well, we gave away a late penalty. I think it was Niakate, if I remember rightly, in the last second of the match. His arm was just randomly up in the air, and we lost that one. The Newcastle at the City Ground has been a tricky one. We've played them 4 times, or 5 times since we've been back, because let's not forget, we've already faced them in the Cup. We all know that ended up in a draw because penalties don't count. But they've been very, very tricky at the City Ground for us. So a draw would be a good result. My heart says we win it though. But if we do, I think it will be one of those workmanlike performances where we take it 1-0. So let me give you my head and heart. Head says 0-0. Heart, of course, says 1-0. What are your predictions? Let me know in the comments down below. Boy, am I nervous about this one. That brings us to the end of the video. If you've enjoyed the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to Forest Fan TV if you are new here. We'll see you on the next video. Go check out my preview with the legend Pete. And come on, you Reds.